Carl and Liam here from Games, Brains and Head-Banging Life, gbhblofficial.com for sure, and it's getting goosebumps as we are up to episode 15 of season 1 of the TV show. Say Cheese and Die. One of the, I believe, one of the more well-known books. And early on, when we did Stay at the Basement, you said Stay at the Basement was the one that you remembered the most, I believe, yeah? This was, oh my God, as soon as this started off, it was like, oh wow. Like I could remember everything about this episode. For some reason, this one, even before I saw the camera, I was like, oh yeah, this weird camera. And I could remember what it looked like. This one was proper.
Yeah, I think, I definitely say this a lot in these episodes, but this was one of the, I think a lot of the episodes in the first season just were played a lot on TV. And this was one that was constantly played. And it's one of the more famously known ones for sure.
Yeah, it's one of the earliest books as well. And it within the first 5, I think, or at least the first 10 for sure.
Yeah, and I believe this one gets a bunch of sequels. I'm not sure if they've made them into episodes, but I'm pretty sure there's sequel books as well, isn't there?
Say Cheese and Die Again was definitely another book. I hope there's more episodes to come around this in this later seasons, because I mean, although we're in season 1 now, and when we get to the other seasons, there's a lot of stuff I'll never have seen before, and that's very exciting.
Oh, yeah. That'd be cool.
Yeah,
that'd be cool because I've definitely seen every episode. I rewatched the whole thing a couple of years ago. Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, let's get into this episode. It's directed by Ron Oliver, who is back for another directing job. And we jump straight into it, where we see a group of kids standing outside a massive factory, and they are waiting to see a man leave who they call Spidey, played by Richard McMillan. I like him in this. I hate the way they film him.
Yeah, there's some weird, sheepish filming involving him, but I think his performance really elevates the episode. Like a lot of adult actors in these episodes, you can tell they're the better actors, and they just are having a lot of fun and being super eccentric. And yeah, I actually do know that there is a sequel episode down the line, and he obviously returns based on what happens at the end of the episode, but yeah, he's good in it.
Yeah. My complaint is only that they basically hold the camera and it's slightly below his chin and up close to his face. So it's like constantly, and I know why, because it's supposed to be almost like a POV from the kid's shot. So, but yeah, I like him in this. And then we have the 3 kids, and holy hell, I could not believe the name that popped up here. Greg, played by Ryan Gosling.
Ryan Gosling, yes.
I was like, holy
surprised actually. There's a lot of young Canadian actors that appear in the episodes throughout all of Goosebumps. I know one that comes up down the line in one of the Night of the Living Dead episodes is Hayden Christensen plays a character as a child. I know there's some other ones, but yeah.
This has got to be the biggest name, right? So far.
Yeah, it must be. I think Elijah Wood might be in one as well. Very cool. Yeah, I think it's a lot of them. I don't even know if Hayden Christensen is Canadian, but I assume he is. But it's because Goosebumps was filmed in Canada. I don't know if you know that. If you can tell by the accents, it's quite obvious at times.
It is.
Yeah.
We also have Doug, aka Bird, played by Akvia Salazman, and Sherry, played by Renessa Blitz. They see Spidey leave and decide to go inside the factory to explore. I don't know why. There's no real why behind this. They just needed the kids to get there, so they just said, go there.
Come on, you guys. Let's check this place out before they finally tear it down.
Curiosity.
Yeah. Inside, it's a mess, and they tease each other. Greg leans on something, and a panel opens. And inside, they find what is easily the weirdest camera I'll be honest. I would have picked that up and not thought it was a camera in the slightest. It's so fucking weird.
It looks pretty far from a camera. Maybe something that came out in the 90s, trying to sell some cool hip looking camera. I don't know. It looks alien-esque for sure.
Bird gets Greg to take his picture, but immediately after he falls off the stairwell, and he's on her, and the kids go to leave.
Okay. Say cheese.
Cheddar. I hope you captured my incredible juggling skills.
Are you okay?
I think so.
However, they run into Spidey, who also then falls off the stairs somehow, and allows the kids to escape with the camera. It's an opening. It's not the best start, but there you go.
No, no.
Greg looks at the photo that was developed from the camera, because basically it's a Polaroid. It will instantly develop the picture.
Mm-hmm.
And in it, it shows Bird actually falling from the stairs. And Greg wonders about the fact that he actually took the picture before he fell, but the rest kind of dismiss it. Oh, no, you probably didn't. It's an action shot and that kind of thing, you know? And he thinks, you know, I know, I'm sure I took that picture while you were on the stairs, not as you were falling off the stairs. Yeah. The kids head home, and Greg arrives at his house to see a new car in the drive. Oh my God, I love the obsession with this car, and going how sleek and cool it is. And it looks like such a banger. It's so old because it's like the 90s.
Yeah, it's clearly making fun of like the father trope or something, like dad trying to be cool and hip with his new car, but actually it's like lame type thing.
Yeah, yeah. His older brother, Terry, played by Kaylee Wilson, comes out and wants to know about the camera. He gets Greg to take his picture in front of the car. We see Greg look at the picture, but he refuses to show it to Terry. And during the scene, you can see Spidey kind of watching from across the road behind a tree. We'll get into more of Spidey's hiding behind a tree later on. But man, oh man, that guy is so inconspicuous.
Very true.
In his room, Greg checks out the camera and again refuses to show Terry the picture. We now see it, and it shows Terry in front of the car, but the car is wrecked. The entire front's been smashed in. I really like this reveal. I was like, oh, that's kind of cool, because the picture is very accurate to what it was taking at the time.
I don't get it.
Yeah, and you know, I don't know if they've used some kind of editing trickery or if they legitimately got a car that was like destroyed and did two different shots, you know, kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I wondered about that because it's weird, because later on we'll see another picture with an editing trick that is horrendous. This is really good.
I think I know what you're talking about. I have a very specific note mentioning probably what you're going to mention. So.
Yeah. At dinner, we meet Mrs. Banks, played by Angie G, and Mr. Banks, played by Marvin Karen. Greg tries to talk his parents into taking the car back, but instead they're all going for a ride to see how this muscle machine can go. Inside the car, Greg is very nervous, and for good reason though, as they do almost get into an accident with a truck. They're fine though. Everyone's okay. Greg's freaking out about it because it kind of feels like this shit's coming true. Sometime later, the family are having a barbecue, and Greg comes out to take their picture. In the picture, the family are all skeletons, and it's revealed to be a dream. Before we move on though, we will now mention, what the fuck was this?
Yeah, there's been some pretty shoddy effects in Goosebumps, but I think up to this point, that has to be the cheapest one, you know, for sure.
It's head scratching. I cannot understand why you literally wouldn't have got a few fake skeletons, set them up, and then took a picture. Instead, what they've done is basically done what looks like cheap, rubbish cartoon drawings on a background of a real picture. It looks horrendous.
Yeah, it looks terrible. Like you said, they could have just borrowed them from like the local biology lab or the local university or anything. It's just like, that's why I probably question whether or not they would have gone to the effort of doing two separate shots for the car being smashed up and stuff like that, if this is the effort they went to do this, you know.
Yeah, and the worst thing is it doesn't hide it, because it does the whole he's looking at the picture and then it gets really close to the images, like he's looking at each one, so you see it in all its fucking glory. Ugh.
I guess it's supposed to just be the symbolism of what it's saying, but yeah.
But it is a dream anyway. And the next day, Greg is telling Bird about it. And guess what? I was shocked. Bird doesn't believe him. Couldn't believe it.
No way.
I know.
Not another boy cried wolf storyline.
Two bullies come over, ripped straight out of any Stephen King book or film you've ever seen. Two bullies come over and, you know, oh, what are you up to? You know, that kind of thing. It could have been from it for all it fucking mattered. They take the camera, and one of them goes to take a picture of the other, but Greg and Bird are able to grab it and run away. At this point, I noticed something. Everyone just wants to have their picture taken. No one asks the questions. They're just like, oh, cool,
Mm.
camera, take my picture.
That's why I think like that's why I think that maybe it was some kind of like there was obviously some craze in the 90s about Polaroid cameras, and I think it was supposed to be sort of playing off that. And how
Okay.
everyone wanted a Polaroid, and just that whole concept being popular at the time. That's what I think.
It's true. I mean, I think wanted a Game Boy Color printer. Do that, the camera on that.
Yeah, those little shitty papers, yeah.
They end up in Sherry's backyard, and the moment they escape the bullies, climb into the backyard, and Sherry's like, "Oh, you could have just used the front door." And then immediately he's like, "Oh, you got a camera? Take my picture." And I'm like, "Fucking hell!" Here again.
Mm.
He argues about not doing it, but she forces him. Apparently, this really bothered me. So the bullies, he's like, "No, I'll save you." Sherry's like, "Oh no, take my picture," and says it several times over. And he's like, "Oh, okay then." She's your friend, guy. Like,
Very true.
Bullies, but not her.
I'm glad you brought the camera, because now you can take my picture.
Oh, sure. I don't think that's a good idea.
Come on, how's this?
No, you gotta listen, Cherry. There's something really freaky about this thing.
Will you just take the picture?
Okay.
When he does, she's not in the picture. But she's like, "Oh, take it again. You must have screwed up." And as he goes to take another one, Terry arrives and tells him that her father was in an accident and the car is wrecked.
Hmm.
It is Goosebumps, so Mr. Banks is fine. He has a broken leg. That's it.
Yeah, that's just like in a lot of the episodes, isn't it? They don't take it almost far enough, so it's almost like it's a bit tame. Like, what's the real danger here? Obviously, Terry disappearing and stuff, but yeah.
Yeah. I'm not saying he should have died. We're not saying he should have died. But maybe he could have done a whole thing where he's like in a coma and then at the end of the episode, he's back and he's healthy.
Yeah, because the whole seeing the skeletons on the photo thing doesn't really add up with a broken leg, does it? You know?
No, it really doesn't. Later, Greg is at home and the police arrive to ask him about Sherry as she has now disappeared. He acts like a freaking idiot here, so suspiciously. And they want to see the picture he took. They're obviously unimpressed when they look at it and see that the picture is blank. This is where I was like, what the hell are you doing, Spidey? Spidey is still outside, and somehow the police pulling out and driving down the road failed to see this man with wearing all black, long grey hair, goggles on the head, standing outside the kid's house by a tree. I mean, I'm serious. He's not hiding. He's standing by the tree, and the police drive straight down the road past him. There's your guy. There's the guy who you need to be looking at for Sherry.
Yep.
The next day, Greg is still trying to convince Bird of the camera's power. And in anger, he tears the picture up and throws the camera down to the floor. Bird notices the camera has taken no damage, and Greg decides, you know what? I'm just going to take this camera back. Not a bad idea. Bird, though, being a good friend, says, I'm not going, and actually just leaves. This is a first for Goosebumps. Normally, the friend is always willing to go along. Bird doesn't.
Yeah, that's something different.
For some reason, though, Greg waits until it's dark.
Yeah.
I couldn't understand that.
Maybe he knew Spidey would definitely be in because it's nighttime.
Outside the factory, he's then startled by Sherry, and she's basically just there and says she doesn't know how she got back. And Greg figures it's linked to when he tore the picture up.
Where were you?
I don't know.
You don't know? Didn't Spidey kidnap you?
No. It's so unreal. All of a sudden, I was back in my backyard. I don't even know where I was.
And initially, I was like, yeah, but how does she know you were there, Greg? Like, how does she know to go there? But admittedly, the episode does answer that immediately, where she says she came after she spoke to Bird and the pair of them head inside. She said her parents were freaking out and stuff like that. Yeah, so, yeah. But she just doesn't remember where she was. I buy it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not sure. Do they really explain like how that works? Like in the episode,
No.
I don't think so. So just that's strange, really. We're going without any explanation. How she just reappears, and why did the camera let her reappear? You know.
And I did. What what I can guess and work out is, okay, if you tear up, because it's a bit unusual, right? I would think the idea would be if you tear up the picture before the bad event happens, the bad event will not happen, right?
Yeah,
But her
makes
bad
sense.
event happened.
Yeah, unless it's did he take another photo after he took the one of her, or was that
No.
the last one he took? Yeah, so that doesn't make any sense because based on what happens at the end of the episode, and they
True.
take a picture of someone else, so it makes sense then if he took another picture, it would tie into the end where it'd be like, oh, then he's like freed that person from the camera type of thing. But anyway,
We're overthinking it as usual. Inside, they go to put the camera back, but Spidey is already waiting for them. And he begins to explain in suitably evil fashion about the camera and demands it back. It's a camera that predicts the future, makes it happen, but also with negative results. Now, these two things don't work for me. I'm like, which is it? If it predicts the future, that's it. That's all you need. But then he's like, and it makes it happen with negative results. I'm like, well, no, that's not predicting the future. That's making the future happen. Which is it?
I soon discovered it not only predicted the future, it made it happen. And it was always disastrous.
yeah, and it doesn't make any sense again based on what happens to him. Like that, that's something. What's that then?
And he also invented it. We should add that. He's an inventor, and somehow he invented this camera. How or why? And just, yeah, he's an inventor. It's a Goosebumps inventor. They're all geniuses.
Just because it feels like a lot of these things would be fleshed out there in the book, maybe.
Maybe. Yeah, we do only have 20 odd minutes to get through this. The kids try to leave, but Spidey basically says he can't let them go. As he attacks Greg, Sherry takes his picture and he just disappears. The kids leave, and we then see the camera, and that Spidey is now trapped inside it.
See what I'm talking about? Like, that's predicting the future, or what? What is that? Doesn't make any sense.
You know what they could have done to help this is if when they're leaving, we then focused on the picture that actually came out of the camera, and what it predicted in that picture was Spidey being inside the camera. Do you see what I mean? Like that's what it had done, but we don't ever see the Polaroid. It's just like it transported Spidey in.
Yeah, like it's capturing its creator for some reason.
It doesn't matter. He's about to be free like 5 minutes later.
It's irrelevant, yeah.
Yeah, because the two bullies arrive, find the camera, and of course they want to take the picture. They use it and they turn around. They're like, "Oh, let's look at it." And you see Spidey stand up behind them. So I guess he murdered the bullies.
That's what you got to assume.
I like this episode. I like the concept behind this episode. I think it's a very traditional thing, and it's got good acting, decent characters, and if it was a bit braver, I think that's what was missing. If it was a bit braver with some of the nastier events, I feel like we'd have something really special here.
Just the episode is called Say Cheese and Die.
Yeah.
Nobody dies, so they're almost like making you believe that that's a possibility, and they just don't. Like they're not brave enough because they're making this kids show. And I don't know if in the book maybe they go further. If the book is probably a bit darker. But yeah, I think on the whole, like the concept is a great concept. So I really like it. But it's just the execution. It feels so like there's enough time to really like delve into the details, and that makes it just it's a bit of a mess. Just like not explained very well. Yeah.
I think that's fair. I think it's a bit of a running theme throughout these episodes where you do think like, oh, if it had a little bit of a longer running time, so say it was an hour-long episode with ad breaks and it was 45 minutes long, would we have a better show?
Yeah, because usually with the episodes that are two parts, they tend to be the better ones because they have the time to develop the characters, the relationships, and the concepts are fleshed out like much like better. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. But I mean, this to me sits in the upper echelons of good, like in a sense, not the best of the series, but if it's one I've seen before, and I really hope we have a TV episode of the sequel. I'd like to see more from this.
I do believe there is one, but yeah, I think you're right because I think the concept is just that good. It's that good, like compared to like Killer Sponges and things like that. It's
Totally fair. But of course, if you've got thoughts, let us know in the comments. Thank you very much for watching. You can check us out on gbhbl.com as well as on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and Tumblr. Go to Patreon to help us out over there. That's patreon.com/gbhbl, as well as Big Cartel, where you can find some of our merchandise. We have a podcast running on SoundCloud and Apple Podcasts. And of course, if you like this video, do us a favour, hit the subscribe button and help the channel grow. Games, horror and heavy metal. What else is life for?